Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Roha and you are very welcome. To the new subscribers, welcome to the family. This is actually where we meet to discuss opportunities such as jobs and scholarships. Now, in today's video, I will be talking about how you can become an online English teacher. Now, for those of you who don't know, I've actually taught English for more than 5 years. And I've done both physical classes and online classes. Now, I do have my notes over here because I don't want to miss anything. And there's quite a load of information that I would like to share with you guys. So please bear with me. And maybe if you can, take a notebook and write down the most important things. All right. So in my experience, teaching online was actually the best compared to physical classes, but obviously everybody has their own preferences. The reason why I actually loved teaching online, especially with my Polish students, I've actually taught students from Poland as well, is because it gives you so much flexibility, and I was able to choose my own schedule, and I had such a great relationship with my students, and there was so much to share and learn, and I just love the overall experience and the fact that I did not have to leave my house, which also meant that I could save costs, right? I didn't have to pay for transport, and I didn't have to, just go outside to go work. I could work from the comfort of my home. And another thing that I did actually love about these classes is the fact that you are able to coordinate the classes according to the students' needs, and you're able to schedule the lessons according to your needs and the students' needs. And also, there is a lot of cultural exchange when you are teaching students from different countries, and generally there's just so much to learn, you guys. So I really loved working online because really you just had a flexible schedule, the money was good, and you did not have to leave your house, which I think was really nice. Okay, so let's get into the sites that I'm going to recommend to you guys. Today I'm going to mainly talk about italki because I was registered on italki, but for some reason I think I got a little bit busy and I just never really got into the whole italki lessons. But this is the site that I'm here to recommend to you today. And the second site is Cambly. Okay, so the process is really simple. If you want to register as a teacher on italki, basically you go to the website, and I'm going to put the website link in the video description box, right? So you go to the website, and they're just going to have some general questions for you, and you are supposed to just answer those questions. All right. And guys, don't just write random stuff. Make sure that your profile looks amazing and it is well written. Okay, so on the website, the questions are really simple. It's just really stuff like your name, your surname, your hobbies, your teaching portfolio, such as your experience, your qualifications, etc. Now that I'm also talking about qualifications, it's very important to note that to become an online English teacher, it is not necessary to have a qualification. It is not. But it depends on which website you are on. All right. So the second thing we are going to look at is your introduction video, because once you're done filling in your portfolio, you are also going to do an introduction video. Now, I always like to say, guys, obviously you are applying for a job. So when you are making your introduction video, you also really want to take your time and go on YouTube, and you can literally search italki introduction video samples so that you can look at how other people have done their videos, and you can also search for example, ESL introductory video samples, and then you'll be able to see some examples on how you can do your video properly. Now, another thing that you may want to consider, obviously, is that you want to have a clear background, you want to look decent in your video, and you also need to speak clearly. Because if I'm a student and I'm looking at your profile to consider whether I want you to be my teacher, I'm going to look at the clarity and the speed at which you speak. If I can't hear you, and if you're speaking too fast, because remember, students have different levels, right? And if you're speaking too fast, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm not going to understand this teacher, so let me skip and go to someone else. Okay, so make sure that your video looks amazing, you look good and decent, you are pronouncing words clearly, and overall your video is your selling point. Okay, so next, let's go to when you are accepted for italki, right? So once you actually get your acceptance, right, you are going to go through a tutorial. Okay, now this tutorial is so amazing because they teach you how to navigate their website, how to use the microphone, the camera, how to, scout for students, etc. So basically, they will teach you how to use the website. To be honest, the website is not even that complex, but still, it's a benefit that there is actually a tutorial for you to learn. Okay, next, requirements. So one thing about italki is that they are actually, obviously a language site where people can learn and where people can teach. Now, when you are signing up as a teacher. Okay, and basically they have a lot of languages, so it's not only English that you can teach in italki. There are also other languages that you can register for, considering if you are able to speak those languages. So, requirements. You should be able to speak the language that you are registering for. Okay, not only speak. I mean, if you're going to register as an English teacher, right, you need to be able to speak, write, hear, understand, etc. It is really just like that. And then there are two options on italki. You can either be a community teacher or you can be a professional teacher. You can register either or, right? So if you are going to be a community teacher, that means that you don't actually need any requirements to, not requirements, but rather qualifications to be a community teacher. You just need to be able to speak and teach the language. Okay, but if you're going to be a professional teacher, then you are going to have to upload your qualifications. So if you've got a background in education, you can upload your qualifications and then be considered to be a professional teacher, which also comes with its own advantages and perks. All right, so next, equipment. Guys, for italki, the equipments are actually really, really simple. You can use your phone. You're allowed to use your phone. So basically, you need obviously your phone, your earphones, and what else did I miss? Yes, basically that's all you need. You need your phone and you need your headset because you're going to be speaking to your students, all right? But if you can, and if you obviously want your class to be better, you might want to consider things like having a laptop, a phone, and then maybe a ring light so that you appear clear in your videos when you are speaking to your students, and then obviously proper headsets. Okay, you might also need a tripod if you are using your phone. If not, then you don't need one. So personally, when I used to teach English, I used to use my laptop, to speak to the students, and my phone, on the other hand, I was using it to type as we are having the class, because sometimes there are things that your students don't understand. So as we are going with the lesson, I might want to type those words and their meanings to them, right? Or I might want to paste something for them, and I'll be doing that from my phone while I'm having the class with them through the laptop. So it just depends on your method and your preference. Okay. And then materials. So when it comes to italki, you guys, they do not have a curriculum. It's pretty much the same as the job I had when I used to teach students from Poland. We do not have a curriculum, but we do sort of have a scope, right? Where they just give you general stuff that they think you can teach to students. But the thing is, students are different and students have different objectives. So you do need to create your own lessons. And guys, if you have done your teaching practicals, for those of you who have the educational background, it's definitely easier for you. But if you have not, there is really nothing to worry about, because you can simply go on Google and you can type something like ESL lesson plan, ESL materials. You can even put the age range that you want. You can put ESL teaching methods, and You can use Google for everything. You can even go on like different sites where you can get reading materials, listening comprehensions. It is up to you to make your lesson engaging. The second advice that I do have for you, which I personally used to practice, is making sure that the class that I'm giving to a particular student is actually tailored for their needs. Okay, so what do I mean by that? You need to let the student lead you. You need to communicate with your student and actually ask your student, what is it that you want to learn and how do you want me to help you improve your English? What topics are you interested in, right? I used to have a student, you guys, to be honest. My student did not like reading, they didn't like grammar, they didn't like all this stuff like spelling and so on. My student literally told me that, ma'am, what I want from our lessons is basically just reading. And these are the kind of topics that I'm interested in. I love nature and I would love to read topics on nature in different parts of the world. That is what I want to learn. And then maybe while we are learning these topics, I also want to learn new vocabulary that is in the text, right? So students should tell you, they should lead you, because it's very important for you to understand what the student's objective is. There are some students who just want to improve their speaking, whereas there are some students that want to improve their reading, and then there are some students who really want to practice grammar. So you really also need to incorporate what the student wants, because if you don't, it's sort of like you're just teaching them things that they don't really need, you know? So that's the second advice that I have for you guys. And then coming to the salary. So salary is on both Cambly and italki. Like I said, I'm particularly focusing on italki, but obviously you guys can also go on Cambly. I'm going to also put their link in the description box and you can check them out and register your profiles there or apply for the jobs as and when required. Okay, so the salaries on italki do vary. Obviously, they don't decide your salary for you the same way that they do not decide your schedule for you. You choose your schedule and you choose when you want to work. But first, let's focus on salary. Okay, so I believe that on italki, salaries range anything between 5 to 100. So you can choose how much you want to charge for a class. However, let me give you guys some advice. If you're new on the site and you still don't have students, it's going to be very difficult for you to charge a price of, let's say, $30, because you do pay 30, you do get paid in USD, and italki takes a 15% cut off the payment. So if you're being paid $20, italki will take 15% of that, okay? So if you're new to the site, I would recommend that you charge the minimum rate so that you're able to get some students. And once your portfolio starts to grow and once you are on italki for a longer time, then only do I advise you to adjust your prices, because now you've got students that can vouch for you, you know? So try to charge a reasonable price. Otherwise, you will have difficulty finding students, because technically the site does not actually look for the students for you. Your portfolio needs to sell itself to attract students. Okay, right. So another thing you might probably need is a PayPal account. So if you don't have one, it might be helpful to register a PayPal account, but there might also probably be other methods of payment that are available. So please do check on the site. And then schedule. As I mentioned earlier, the good thing about teaching online is the schedule. It's flexible. You can choose when you want to work. But guys, you know, if you go on sites like italki, right, you can already imagine who are really the people that want to learn English. And then you need to consider their time zone. So you also need to be smart about it and decide from what time to what time is your schedule. So for example, you can start teaching from 5 a.m. to obviously attract the Asian market, because 5 a.m. is already afternoon to them, you know? So a lot of kids probably might go to school in the morning and then after school, they might want to take extra classes online. So it's up to you to decide. Let's say, for example, if you are already working and you only want to do that as part-time, you can then schedule your lessons from, let's say, 6 to 10 p.m. Or if you want your classes to be in the morning, you can also do that. So it just depends on you guys. It depends. All right. And then obviously, attire. It is very important for you to just look decent, because your students are not going to see what you're wearing under, so you might as well wear your pajamas. They are going to see only this here and your background. So make sure that you look decent, and so that your students can appreciate the teacher and how decent you look and how respectable you look. Okay, presentation really matters. And then emergencies, guys. Everyone, absolutely everyone, has emergencies. We cannot escape that, right? You will have emergencies at some point, and your students will have emergencies at some point. The only thing I can say is that don't take your classes for granted, and don't take your job for granted if you are accepted on italki. Because if you are the kind of person who just every time be telling your students like, oh, sorry, I can't make it today, I've got this, oh, sorry, I can't make it today, I need to go where, you are going to lose students. And I know that on italki, if you miss several classes with no explanation or whatever the case, you will be kicked out of italki, right? You'll be terminated. So, but like in any other case, obviously having a good relationship with your students really helps. Like when I was teaching students from Poland, and even I think with my Korean students, it was the same thing. We really had such a great relationship, and they were able to tell me in advance that, ma'am, sorry, I will not be able to attend my class for tomorrow or for Wednesday because so and so came up. Could we please reschedule our lesson to this date and this time? Is it okay for you? All right. So as a teacher, you should also do the same thing. Communicate on time. All right. And then teaching. All right. So you can obviously teach kids, or you can choose adult. You can teach adults. I've taught both. My Korean and Japanese students, and even my Malaysian students, were young. They were kids in primary school, but I've also taught adults. You may ask, which classes did I prefer? To be honest, I preferred the adult classes. Just because, it was kind of easier for the conversation to flow, and it was sort of easier to work with them because they were so punctual, they were so enthusiastic to learn, and they knew exactly what they wanted. But I have to say that when I used to teach children, at first it was hard. But the more I did it, I think like after a month or so, or maybe 2-3 weeks, I was already like in par, and my energy was slowly shifting to the children's idea of teaching, and I was already kind of like starting to enjoy it, and I was starting to understand the children's psychology, how they want to be taught, how much attention they want. And because with kids, right, you really need patience, you need to love them, you need to listen to them, and you also need to teach them in a way that you would not teach adults, right? So to be honest, for me, I think both are okay. So on italki, you can actually choose who you want to teach and what age, and you can specify that on your profile. So when students are scrolling on the website, they're able to see what you want to teach. Are you teaching conversations? Are you teaching grammar, reading? What can you help them with? And what is the age that you are looking to help? All right. Next, Wi-Fi and load shedding. Guys, it is not a surprise that you actually do need a good internet connection. Very important. You don't want to be that teacher who is in class and your internet is buffering and students can't see you, they can't hear you. So it is very, very, very important to have a good Wi-Fi connection to be able to teach on these sites. And while we are not affected by the load shedding that much in Namibia, I know in winter sometimes we've got this power cuts that are so unexpected. But if, let's say, you are actually informed that there will be a power cut or whatever the case, it's very, very important to let your students know in advance. And if you're in a country where load shedding is common, like South Africa, it's also very important to plan your classes around that schedule. So you would know the load shedding schedule, and then you would be able to update your teaching schedule accordingly. Okay, so that is all for today, guys. If you do have any questions, or if there's something that I might have missed, or if there's something or maybe some other sites that you guys would like to recommend to other people, please do comment them below, comment your questions below, and also comment where you are watching from. Let me know. Have you guys taught online? How was your experience? Did you love it? Like I said, I personally love teaching online, and it's something that I would actually consider doing again if I ever, if I ever needed to, because teaching online also for me was a great experience because I was able to do it while I was traveling. So I could be, for example, in Indonesia on holidays, and I would still be teaching. I could be in Singapore and I would still be having my lessons, or I could be in the Philippines and I would still be having my classes. It doesn't stop me from traveling. So I do remember it was a really amazing time. So it's sort of like you are traveling and you are working at the same time, and you don't need to be confined to one location. As long as you've got a good internet connection, then you are good to go. All right, so guys, that's all for today. Hope you guys found this video informative, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a lovely day. Ciao.